Hello, welcome to session 4. This is related to deployment, and as we have seen the agenda for this session, this is our first class. So in this video we will discuss about deployment strategies in MuleSoft. What are the different types of strategies available? But if you are a student or if you are a fresher, my suggestion is this is a elaborated video about deployment strategies and all. Maybe if you are a student or from non-IT background, you won't get all the details at this stage. So I don't want to feed your mind with all the more information. So you can skip this video. I will simplify the video for only Cloudhub deployment. I will add that video also. So I just name it as freshers, something like that. So you can understand that video first, then come back to this video and learn more. Okay, that would be useful for you if you are a fresher or from non-IT background. If you are experienced person, or if you are wanted to looking for what are the different deployment strategies and all in MuleSoft, this video is for you. Okay, thank you. Let's get started. Yeah. So welcome to this deployment strategies video. In this video, we will discuss about what are the different deployment strategies available in MuleSoft and how we can achieve that. Okay. So first of all, what is deployment? If you are a fresher and if you are a student from non-IT background, you will get some idea about deployment by this slide. Okay. So if you already know, you can just ignore it. So software deployment is all of the activities that make a software system available for use, which means if say for example, if you did one feature, if you work on some code, if it is available in your system, your laptop only, so no one can use that, no one can utilize that functionality, right? Because that is available only in your system. So you can only use, you can only test that. Instead of that, if you can deploy it somewhere in the server, I mean in real-time projects also, that is the process. If you deploy that code, if you if you upload that code somewhere in the cloud or in the project server, then all of your project team, all of your end users will utilize that functionality. So our end goal is to provide that functionality, to provide that project to your users only, right? So that is the thing. Actually we need to deploy all the activities of the particular software which is available for use. So that is the thing. So these are the definitions actually I found in Google, just to make you understand clearly what is deployment before we start the strategies and all. So let's see, like this, if you can see the second point, the release of the final version of the software or an app to either customer or a general public. So this actually you can understand little better, because for example, if you can take an example of Facebook or Instagram is an app. Let's say Facebook is a website. Okay, so that the version which you are using, you are logging into that Instagram, you are logging into that Facebook, we are all are the users for that Facebook, users of that Instagram. But that Facebook is an application, Instagram is an application, few developers develop that, right? So they have a development team, they have a management team, everyone, they develop that application, they develop all the features, like to post an update, to see your friends photos and all, to create a profile, all the features, functionalities of the Facebook app or Facebook web page, right? So all the functionalities they developed, they means that their development team who developed that app. Okay, so they develop all the features, they test from their end, they will deploy to public servers. So once they deploy the features, then only we can use it. We are the users of the Facebook and Instagram, we didn't develop the code, we are actually using that Facebook app and the Instagram app to, I'm just giving a social media example here because everyone will connect to it, right? So to use public, I mean, if you want to say something to your friends, if you want to chat with your friends, what you will do in general, Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger you will use, right? But how the chat will happen, how the message is going from there and go, I mean there and here, okay, that functionality we are not developing it because we are not the developers, we are just users. We use that software, we just download the Facebook, download the Instagram, we are going to create our profile and we can make friends, we can use that, right? So that is the final version. final version of the Facebook, Instagram, they will deploy into their servers and cloud publicly. See, our general public. So we are all the general public and users of the social media apps, right? So they have their own development team to do the functionality development and testing from their end. So I think you understand little by using this example, right? Okay. So what about MuleSoft, Mule application deployment? In MuleSoft, actually, we have two different aspects to discuss about deployment. One is Mule runtime engine. Second one is Mule applications deployed to the runtime engine instance. See, in our previous examples, we have developed the Hello Clart example, and we have take that RAML flows, and we have done the debugging, and we run the RAML code and all in our Anypoint Studio itself, right? So the Anypoint Studio, it has a internal server. We have seen that red button, right? So we stop the server, we run the server. That is internal server, which is nothing but internal Mule runtime engine instance. Instance means one server. That is internal server. That is available for you only because that is running in your own personal laptop. That is not available for general public. But in real-time Mule application deployment, we have to have one Mule runtime engine instance, which is a Mule server. And second one, your Mule applications are going to deploy into that particular engine. See, this is the server. We are all going to deploy our application 1, application 2. We are all going to deploy those applications to that particular engine. This engine is available. This runtime engine, this server is available for public. So they can utilize the application features. So these are the two aspects you need to remember. And what are the main components of Anypoint platform? So we already discussed about Anypoint platform functionalities, right? We already created that it is a free account in Cloudhub. So the Cloudhub is nothing but Anypoint platform in MuleSoft. So Anypoint Studio is used to develop the code, but where we are going to deploy our code into Cloudhub, that is nothing but Anypoint platform. Right. So in that Anypoint platform, we have seen lot of features. I'll just go back and I'll show you one more time. Okay, so just I'm going to log in into my Anypoint platform. This is the one we have created as part of our testing, right? So this is Cloudhub Anypoint platform, and here we have, these are all the different features: design center, exchange, manage center, access management, API manager. These are all the different functionalities. So all these different functionalities we actually have in two different components. One is runtime plane, another one is control plane. So what is runtime plane? It is where you develop and deploy your applications. So I will show you what are the different components will come under runtime plane, will come under control plane. Okay, so runtime plane means you are going to develop and deploy your application. That is called runtime plane. Control plane means the name itself showing control. We are going to control our application, like we are going to apply security policies, we are going to monitor it, we are going to set alerts, we are going to download it, we are going to design it, right? So to control that your application, you have a control plane. Two different components are there. So what are the different features? These are all the different features in Cloudhub: design center, exchange, access management, everything, right? These are all actually segregated into two different parts. Few are divided into two different parts. One is runtime, another one is control plane. Let's see what will come under control plane and what are the runtime plane. So as we discussed, control plane, runtime plane, two things, right? So API manager, all API manager, design center, runtime manager, access management, Anypoint exchange, Anypoint studio, analytics, all the things come under your control plane, because we are going to control our application by using this API manager, design center, and everything, right? So what will come under runtime plane? Runtime plane is where we are going to deploy your application, right? So here runtime engine comes into picture, and security services, object store, Anypoint MQ, runtime services, these are all the different services will come under runtime plane. I'll just go back to that slide. So these are all the different components available in control plane and runtime plane. So based on this plane, the location of this control plane and runtime plane, your deployment strategy will come into picture. Sometimes MuleSoft, I mean, actually these are related to MuleSoft, right? We are going to use the MuleSoft. So MuleSoft is the vendor. We are all the customers. We are all means the organizations, our organizations. So organizations who are going to use the MuleSoft product, organizations are called customers. And what is the product you are going to use? MuleSoft product, right? Who are going to send, I mean, provide that MuleSoft vendor. So MuleSoft is vendor. So based on the location of this control plane and runtime plane, we have different deployment models, right? So these are all the different deployment models. Cloudhub, on-premise, hybrid, Runtime Fabric, Private Cloud Edition, and Government Cloud, Gov Cloud Editions. Right? These are all the different deployment models available in MuleSoft based on the control plane and runtime plane location. So, if you, I will also suggest one thing. If you are a fresher or if you are a non-native, if you are from non-native background or if you are a fresher, you just concentrate on Cloudhub deployment first. First learn this. First try to learn, understand and practice this Cloudhub deployment. We have different types of Cloudhub deployments also. We will see that in one by one. So just practice the Cloudhub deployment first, then go and learn the remaining deployment strategies. So at this time, if you are a fresher, if you will feed all the information in mind at this time, it will be a little confusion for you. So just remember to understand and utilize and practice the Cloudhub deployment as the priority. Then you will just learn all the different deployment models. Okay, so we are going to discuss all these things in our video, but we are concentrating on Cloudhub deployments, hands-on sessions on Cloudhub deployments only. Remaining all we will discuss one by one. So first one is Cloudhub deployment model, right? So let's see what is Cloudhub deployment model. So let's see what is a Cloudhub deployment model. So in this model, both control plane and runtime plane both are available and both are managed by MuleSoft, which means we have control plane also in Cloudhub and runtime plane also in Cloudhub. Runtime engine, everything is there. Both the control plane and runtime plane are managed by Cloudhub, which is internally MuleSoft. And MuleSoft actually it is managed internally backend AWS services that we can just remember that. Okay, so if you have control plane, runtime plane, both are available in the MuleSoft side itself. It is managed by Cloudhub itself, which is called Cloudhub model. Okay, and if this Cloudhub wanted to contact or communicate with any other backend data center or any other data available outside the Cloudhub, it will communicate through VPN, which is called VPN connectivity, VPC cloud, virtual private cloud, which is available in Cloudhub, but it is additional cost. We have to take VPC subscription. I mean, your organization should have VPC subscription if they want to communicate with any external data center. Okay, so let's see what are the details about this Cloudhub deployment. Let's learn more. Okay, so Cloudhub is an actually iPaaS model. iPaaS model means integration platform as a service, which means you should not worry about infrastructure. You should not worry about any maintenance cost and all. You can just subscribe to that. You can just take that and utilize your code, and you can implement your code in that. You don't want to worry about anything, which is completely managed by that iPaaS server. So Cloudhub is kind of iPaaS server. So where one can deploy application from the runtime manager console without any configuration. You no need to do any configuration regarding the servers and all. Everything will be done by MuleSoft. You just utilize that service. So applications running on multiple workers can share load automatically and balances the incoming traffic. Cloudhub load balancer. So load balancer, these are all the different topics. Okay, Okay, so load balancer means it will balance the load if income traffic is very huge. For example, if your application deployed in Cloudhub at a time, if 10,000 users are accessing your application, one MuleSoft one Mule runtime instance cannot handle all the 10,000 applications, so 10,000 requests. Okay, in that case, it will share the load to another worker instance. It will take 5,000 request one instance, 5,000 request one instance. Okay, so that the processing speed, response speed is also increased. So like that, it will balance the load and all. Okay, so but shared resources for multiple applications in Cloud Hub environment is not possible. It means like every worker, every Cloud Hub worker means internally it is a MuleSoft instance, you can say. So each one MuleSoft instance will handle one application. One worker is for one application. So different workers have different applications. It cannot share the common resources. If you have any common projects, common domain projects, that won't be possible in Cloud Hub. So that is the thing you need to remember. So in cloud, we have only one application for one worker. We cannot deploy more than 10 applications. So that's why it is a little cost effective model. Cloud Hub deployment is. So here you need to remember VPN connectivity we can establish securely by using Cloud Hub model, and we can configure dedicated load balancer domain names also by using Cloud Hub, which means like for example, I have provided some examples here. See what is dedicated load balancer means that load balancer requires, I mean that URL names you can specify for your organization itself instead of sharing common names. So in this example, you will understand clearly. So see, for example, if you have Cloud Technologies, so www.cloudtechnologies.com, this is my domain name / your path name. So there is nothing related to MuleSoft information or any third party information. So this URL, this everything is dedicated to you, your website, your organization only. Okay, I mean if you have unique names and specific to your organization certificates, you can use if you have your I mean if you would like to use your specific user website names, path names, and your specific certifications, you can use dedicated load balancer. Instead, the Cloud Hub also provide shared load balancer by default. So if you deploy any application in Cloud Hub in your trial account, you will observe cloudhub.io domain name is getting added, which is shared load balancer. Internally, Cloud Hub will use shared load balancer. If you want, you can use dedicated load balancer as well, but that is also some extra cost. Okay, that is about Cloud Hub deployment. Now let's see what is on-premise deployment model. Yeah, in this video we will see what is on-premise deployment model. Okay, so for if you want a pure on-premise deployment model, it won't contain control plane, which means we don't have all the control plane features. We just use Mule runtime engine, and that Mule server is also managed by your organization itself. MuleSoft won't come into picture here. So I mean regarding the control plane and runtime plane is managed by the customer itself, which means your organization itself. So you can use Mule standalone server. It is a separate topic, and Mule will provide standalone server for you. If you want to use all the Mule features, you can install that server in your organization servers, and you can utilize the MuleSoft features of runtime plane. If you don't want any control plane, like if you don't want to manage anything, if you don't want to get alerts and all, if you don't want to use control plane features, if your project requirement, if your organization requirement is just to use MuleSoft standalone runtime server for deploying applications, then you will just take this on-premise model. Here we have another model which is called hybrid model. This you can take, you can understand it like it's Cloud Hub plus on-premise, because control plane is available in Cloud Hub, runtime plane is available in your organization. So which is available in your organization is nothing but on-premise model. So Cloud Hub managed one is Cloud Hub model, MuleSoft managed one, right? So you have this kind of mixed deployment strategies, mixed model, which is called hybrid model. If you want to run your application in your organization itself, you can use your own MuleSoft servers. Okay, that runtime plane is managed by customer, which is your organization, and the control plane is managed by MuleSoft. All the alerts and all the features we have seen earlier, right? So that is managed by MuleSoft. So if you have your requirement like this, you can go with hybrid model. Then how this control plane and runtime plane communicate with each other is nothing but by using a runtime agent. We have one runtime agent we need to configure. Through that, the control plane and runtime plane will communicate with one another. So this is a simple overview about hybrid model. So see, if you can see, deploy to your servers, but use the control plane of control to control your servers and applications. So this is about hybrid model. We will see elaborated details one by one. So if you can see, on-premise, this is both related to hybrid and on-premise, because we are going to discuss about runtime plane, which is managed by your organization. In both hybrid model and on-premise model, runtime plane is managed by your organization, right? So then we will discuss what are the benefits of it. So we have complete control on our MuleSoft instance, because MuleSoft server is installed in our organization. So we have complete control. In Cloudhub model, that runtime instance also managed by MuleSoft itself. So we don't have complete control on that, right? So, and again, in on-premise model, we can create a common domain with common details and all. We can use that common domain to multiple MuleSoft applications. We can share that common domain to multiple MuleSoft applications, and we can deploy all the applications together, which is possible in on-premise model and which is not possible in Cloudhub model. Okay. See, for example, by default, your application refers to default domain, but you can create one common domain we can share with different projects. Okay. See, a Mule instance is able to run different versions of an application. That is one advantage of on-premise model. One instance, we can run more applications, different versions of applications. And these are all the few more benefits or differences with Cloudhub model. Mule runtime engine reloads the application configuration changes automatically without stopping the service in the on-premise model. But in Cloudhub model also there is zero downtime, because if one worker is down, it will share, the load will share with another worker, shared by another worker. So that there is also zero downtime is there. Even on-premise model also we have zero downtime. And enterprises maintain all their data on full control, because the runtime engine is there in their hands. Okay? So companies in highly regulated industries with extra privacy concerns will go with this model. For example, banking sectors or financial sectors, if they want to make their data securely, more securely, if they don't want to share metadata or any data outside their servers, outside in the Cloudhub, they can take the on-premise model. They can go with on-premise model, because they have, but in this model they have to do all the management and maintenance of the MuleSoft server. That is the headache. So there is an additional cost for load balancer, firewalls, and all the other network components if you go with this on-premise model. Okay. Also, the installation will take place in the organization's data center, because Mule runtime engine, runtime plane is there in organization, right? So we have to install Mule server and all, and someone should manage that server. Someone should maintain that correctly. Okay, because we are going to control that runtime plan as an organization. So these are all the main major things about on-premise model, which is actually related to hybrid model also, because in hybrid model also runtime plane is in our control. So these are related to both models. So let's see the next model, which is Runtime Fabric. So this is another deployment model, which is Runtime Fabric, which it is actually controlled by customer itself, because I mean the runtime plane and everything is controlled by customer itself, but we can still use control plane features of MuleSoft. Okay, so what is the difference between hybrid and runtime fabric is in this runtime fabric, runtime plane is under your organization control, but inside that it is a containerization thing, a containerization type of model, because it has a lot of Docker containers, and which is internally used Kubernetes will have multiple Docker containers. Each Docker container will have each Mule instance, Mule runtime engine is to be installed in Docker container. So Kubernetes actually used to spin up and spin down your Docker containers. Say, if you want to use more servers in future, it will be easily done by Kubernetes. But Kubernetes runtime plane, which is nothing but runtime fabric model. In runtime fabric model, by using Kubernetes, you can extend the servers, and you can delete the servers easily to manage the workload and all. But in on-premise, it is not possible, because in on-premise we have to install MuleSoft servers by our own. There is no containerization. So if you want to use more Mule instances, you need to install it manually. But in runtime fabric model, Kubernetes will take care of that. So that is the major advantage of runtime fabric model. But still, you can use the control plane of MuleSoft, all the control plane features of MuleSoft in this runtime fabric model also. Okay, so few more details are like any point runtime fabric is a containerized service, so multiple cloud deployments of Mule runtimes will be possible, and also it is easy to deploy Mule application and APIs and to their managed infrastructure such as organization on-premise data, and which we can control through MuleSoft hosted development environments. That is also possible in runtime fabric. So we can deploy Mule runtimes in different environments. This is also one more advantage of runtime fabric. Instead of the Docker containers and all, you can deploy Mule runtimes in different environments like AWS and virtual machines, or Microsoft Azure and bare metal something. These are all the few examples. Okay, and runtime fabric, using the Docker and Kubernetes, we can maintain the orchestration and automation also, and we can achieve benefits of both Cloudhub as well as on-premise features in runtime fabric, because we can use the MuleSoft control plane and on-premise kind of runtime plane. Okay, so we can redeploy the application with zero downtime, and we can isolate the applications, everything. These are all the more benefits about the runtime fabric. So that is the brief about three different models. Let's see more comparisons, like which deployment model you can choose. So based on your requirements, you can select the deployment model based on your client requirements and organization requirements. And also you need to keep cost also in mind, because the Cloudhub is a more costly one compared to all the on-premise and hybrid runtime fabric deployments. We have seen that. Okay, right? So let's see a couple of points by using which you can actually select the deployment model. So you can go with Cloudhub model. If you are a startup company, you can select this as it because if you don't want to manage any infrastructure team. Infrastructure team means they need to maintain the servers. They are going to install the servers and patches, updates, everything. They will do the infrastructure team will do that. So sometimes if you are a startup company, you don't want to invest much time or money in that infrastructure team. So in that case, Cloudhub model is suitable for you. So again, if you don't have any restrictions to share metadata over cloud, if you can take this model, because if you don't have any restrictions, you can share the data over Cloudhub, you can select that model. And on-premise model, if your data and metadata stays in on-premise server, and if you don't want to control plane and other MuleSoft Cloudhub features, if you are worrying about Cloudhub cost, then you can go with the on-premise model. What about hybrid model? If you are planning to move your data into the Cloudhub slowly, like maybe after 6 months or after 1 year, you are going to migrate to Cloudhub model, but still you have to use that Cloudhub features and all, you can use this hybrid model. Slowly you can migrate the runtime plane also to the Cloudhub. right? So in that case, you need to just create a new apps in the Cloudhub, the new applications in the Cloudhub, and existing apps will be remain same in the on-premise servers. So once the data migration is done completely, then it will be completely moved to Cloudhub model. Okay, so what about RTF runtime fabric model? If you are from government sectors, or you have restrictions like highly secured data you should not share anywhere in Cloud Hub. So in that case, you can just select RTF runtime fabric, because they have their own containerization model in the runtime plane. They will maintain, they will manage everything by their own. So that you can select this model. And if you don't have MuleSoft hosted control plane in your organization, in that case also you can select RTF model. And these are all the few more things. When you want to get rid of infrastructure management, like if you already have infrastructure team but you want to remove that infrastructure team, in that case you can select the Cloud Hub model. You can get rid of the team and all, right? And this Cloud Hub deployment model is best suited for process APIs and experience APIs, which are actually more communicate to the external users. And on-premise model, you have to install your Mule standalone server by your own, and this is the best suited for system APIs, because the system APIs we cannot give direct access to the end users, all right? It will stay remain on on-premise or any legacy systems. So you can choose on-premise model for any system APIs. And if you don't want to move to your application data from on-premise server, if you want to move slowly, you can select hybrid model. This is also suited for system APIs. And if you have containerization infrastructure already available there in your organization for maybe for other projects under, you can select this RTF model, because you can utilize the cost of that Kubernetes and Docker containers. You can utilize that cost, and you can reduce that cost. So where you can select that RTF model. So let's see what are some few, we have discussed all the things, right? So we'll just segregate what are the advantages of these different models and what are the disadvantages. Okay, so in Cloud Hub model, we can see zero downtime upgrade, because if MuleSoft releases any new patches or new updates for the server, it will automatically done by the MuleSoft. So we do our application will not down for that time, so automatically it will done. We no need to do anything, so it is zero downtime upgrade. And out of the box scalability, like if you would like to scale your application, like you would like to extend the workers, or you need to extend the vCores and all horizontally or vertically, which is pretty easy in Cloud Hub, because it's just a click of configuration. You can just click the vertical vcore size, and you can select the worker numbers. That's it. You no need to configure anything by your own. So that is very easy in Cloud Hub model. And you have complete access to object store version 2, and these are all the again new main features. Let me just, so all the main features are like object store version 2, any point MQ, persistent queue. You will have all the access to all these things in Cloud Hub model. But in on-premise model, it won't share any data to MuleSoft Cloud Hub. That is the first thing. And you can create domain projects, and you can install more applications in one instance. This is one more advantage. And it won't share any data. This is also one more advantage if you have any restricted data. And in hybrid model, it is utilize standard shared resources, as we have control time and runtime, because on-premise hybrid both are similar, because runtime plane is it is having complete control under by their organization. So these two are, you will find similarities to these two models, because runtime plane is under organization control. So what are the advantages of RTF model? It will improve the scalability by spinning up and spin down the Docker containers by using Kubernetes. This is the main advantage, because in on-premise model it is very extra effort you have to spend. It is very difficult to scale up the servers and scale down the servers, because you need to install all the servers, or you need to remove the servers if you don't want them. But in Cloud Hub, it is managed by MuleSoft, so it is very easy for us to do that. Even in RTF also, it is Dockerized containers, right? So Kubernetes will take care of increase the Docker containers are down the Docker containers. So these are all the few advantages. So what are the few disadvantages or cons? So in Cloud Hub, the main disadvantage is domain projects are not supported because the shared domains are not available in Cloud Hub, and one worker will have one Mule runtime which will deploy only one application. One worker, one application. We cannot deploy more applications in one worker. And worker cost is also expensive. VPC, VPN costs, if you want to take it, is this is the charges are extra and which is very high cost. But what are the disadvantages of on-premise? In on-premise, more or less same as the hybrid model as we discussed earlier. Okay, so you lose all the benefits like monitoring, alerts, and so on, which is provided by Cloud Hub, and it is actually not recommended by the MuleSoft, but still some organizations, based on their requirements, they are actually using this on-premise model. But in hybrid model, it actually to scale. First thing is the upgrades of MuleSoft patches. We have to manage it manually because if MuleSoft release any new upgrade for their server, any patches, any new runtime, you have to install it manually because runtime plane is there under your hands, right? And we discussed earlier like scalability needs more efforts. We need to install more servers if we want to increase, and we have to yeah, we don't have access to object store version 2, anypoint MQ and persistent queues. We don't have those features access in hybrid and on-premise both models. Okay, so the main disadvantage of RTF model is like only the patches and upgrades we have to manage by our own. Other than that, there is no more advantages. I mean, no more disadvantages in RTF model as of now. So we have few more models also. So we have already discussed about the Cloud Hub model, on-premise model, hybrid model, and runtime fabric model. And we have few more, two more other deployment models, which is the private cloud edition (PCE) and Gov Cloud. Okay, PCE is actually which is completely controlled by customer, completely controlled by your organization, because see deploy both runtime plane and control plane to your server. It could required for the organizations with strong policies in terms of security. If they have strong security policies like banking sector and all, they will go with this private cloud edition because both the control plane and the runtime plane managed by the organization itself. So there is no metadata, no normal data is shared to Cloud Hub, so which is very much suitable to the secured organizations. And Gov Cloud, if you are Gov Cloud actually it is provided by MuleSoft as a government cloud, which is actually used by all the government organizations. Suggestible thing. Okay, all the preferred option for government entities would be Gov Cloud instead of MuleSoft Cloud Hub. They will go with Gov Cloud. This is all the remaining two models. So basically, you have to remember these four deployment models handy. And if you are freshers or non-native background, you can just start from here, from this video. And if you want to learn more, you can see that advanced topics of deployment model strategies, which we have discussed in our separate video, that I'll share that link here. But if you are a fresher, you can start the deployment models discussion from here. So we have four deployment models, which is Cloud Hub, which is completely managed by MuleSoft. Second one is on-premise. Runtime engine is managed by your organization and there is no control plane. Hybrid model, you can deploy your servers. You can deploy your servers and all in your runtime plane is in your control, but you can use control plane of MuleSoft features. RTF, which is deploy your servers to by using Docker or Kubernetes containers, you can deploy your MuleSoft servers in that. I mean, runtime plane is there in that Docker and Kubernetes server. You can still utilize control plane features of MuleSoft Cloud Hub. So these are all the basic four deployment models, major deployment models, and preferably most organizations now go with I mean Cloud Hub model also. Otherwise, they will go with hybrid model because they have complete control on runtime plane. So these two are majorly used nowadays, and they are actually chances of increasing this RTF deployment models also because nowadays the Dockers and Kubernetes, all the DevOps systems also increasing day by day. So these are all the things, basic stuff. You can just remember this one word answer, one line answer regarding this deployment models as of now. Then you can elaborate them by using our advanced video which we have published earlier. I will share that link. You can just go through that video to learn more about all these four models. Okay, and we are actually focusing about Cloudhub deployment in our course because this is fundamentals course. We have to learn much about Cloudhub deployments instead of all these things, because this is the most recommended approach by MuleSoft. So in this course, actually we are going to focus on Cloudhub deployment model, where we have actually four methods, four options, or one second, sorry, five options we have to deploy your application into Cloudhub. So we are focusing on Cloudhub deployment in this fundamentals course. We will see more all the deployment models in our advanced course. Okay, so we have five methods. As we have seen here, we have five different methods to deploy your application into Cloudhub, which is manual deployment, and by using Anypoint Studio we can deploy our application. By using Maven commands we can deploy your application to Cloudhub, and by using Anypoint CLI, which is command line interface, and another one is by using CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment, which is actually it will use another tools called Jenkins or Azure DevOps and all, but internally it is using Maven commands only to deploy this application. Okay, so in our course we will focus on these three deployment types, I mean these options: manual deployment, Anypoint Studio, by using Maven commands. We will discuss these three things in detail. This way, I mean, this is not in scope, and CI/CD also separate topic, CLI is also separate topic, so we are not focusing these two things in our course. These are all the separate topics we will discuss in our advanced course. I just wanted to mention all the different options for your understanding. If you are going to face any interview, you will get this kind of question, so that will be helpful for you. Okay, so, and one more thing, I would recommend, if you are a fresher or a student or non-IT background, why I'm mentioning everything in for this link. So it will easy approach for students if you want to learn all the things at a time, which is very difficult for you if you are a fresher or a student, just passed out student. Okay, so my recommendation is first focus on this second model, like by using Anypoint Studio, how you can deploy this application into Cloudhub. Just focus on this first, this option, learn this option, practice this option very well. Then go to this manual deployment, then learn this Maven commands deployment, so that you will get complete idea about three different options of Cloudhub deployment. Later on we will see CI/CD and Anypoint CLI also. Okay, but by using CI/CD model, we already in our website we have Jenkins CI/CD deployment model. So if you are comfortable, or if you are confident with these three deployment options, you can go in our website, you can learn CI/CD deployment by using Jenkins. It is a free course available in our website, so you can go and learn over there. Okay, let's get started. Let's see how we can deploy our application by using Anypoint Studio as the first. Then we will see the different two models.